Despite how Squid Game ended, there are lots of ways for the story to continue. It's possible for Squid Game to return for a season 2, with or without the existing characters. The Netflix survival drama Squid Game concluded with Nam, who was revealed to be the man behind the games, dying, while the protagonist, Gi-hun, watches on. But this doesn't mean that there won't be a sequel. Shortly after its September release on Netflix, Squid Game became the most watched show on the streaming platform. And it's likely that Netflix executives and the rest of the showrunners will want to parlay Squid Game's initial success into the development of a second season. Squid Game's final episodes serve to close the overarching story arcs in the show. In a final confrontation with the frontman, police officer, who Wang Jun-ho gets shot in the shoulder, falls off a cliff, and drops into the sea below. The man who shot him, the frontman, is also revealed to be his long-lost brother, In-ho. Meanwhile, only one of Squid Game's 456 players survive, and that player is Seong Gi-hun. He wins the final game and gets to take home Squid Game's prize of 45.6 billion Korean won. When Gi-hun meets Il-nam on his deathbed, Il-nam reveals that he's actually a billionaire, and that he founded and financed the games on the island. Gi-hun uses the money he wins to do right by the North Korean defector Kang Si-byok and disgraced businessman Cho Sang-woo. He does this by fetching Si-byok's little brother from the orphanage and putting him in the care of Sang-woo's mother, while also giving them money to have a decent life. It would seem that the loose ends are neatly tied up as the show comes to an end. However, as Gi-hun makes his way to the airport to see his daughter in the US, he sees the salesman recruiting a player for Squid Game through a game of dakji, the same way he was recruited. While Gi-hun fails to confront the salesman during the ending of Squid Game, he manages to snag his card from the potential recruit. As Gi-hun is about to board the plane, he uses the card to call Squid Game's organizers and exchange threats with the person on the other line. He then turns around from his flight and hurries out of the airport with an expression that seems determined to make do on his threats of putting an end to the games once and for all. Although Il-nam, the founder of the Squid Game, is dead, this final scene confirms that not only are the games going to continue, but that Gi-hun is ready to do anything to stop them. Now, the death of Il-nam creates a power vacuum in the Squid Game universe. However, there will be no shortage of VIPs vying for the top spot in the organization that Il-nam left behind. Similar to James Wan's Saw movies, someone else could take up the mantle of the boss. And if it's not the frontman, who's also known as In-ho, a new character could be introduced to take on the role of the boss in Squid Game Season 2. After all, as Gi-hun himself learned during the ending, the death of one man isn't enough to stop the long-term operations of Squid Game. Now, could the police officer, who Wang Jun-ho, still be alive? Jun-ho, the largest threat to the continuation of the games, is presumed dead when he is shot by In-ho in the shoulder and falls into the sea. However, the shot isn't fatal, and his corpse is never shown on screen. Also, neither In-ho nor his workers were shown making sure that Jun-ho is actually dead. While the final scene confirms that Squid Game is back in full swing, this doesn't necessarily mean that Jun-ho is dead and that his neo-noir detective story is over. If the evidence he gathered for the police was swept under the rug, Jun-ho could already be planning his next move, and he might even team up with Gi-hun in Squid Game Season 2. Now, a small but interesting detail that could provide more clues about Season 2 is when one of the VIPs remarked that the games in Korea are the best this year. This implies that other versions of Squid Game are happening in other places in the world. Focusing on a version of the game set elsewhere would be a great opportunity for Squid Game to expand on its themes of wealth and equality, but with children's games from a different place and culture. And much like Season 1, this could also allow showrunners to introduce a whole new cast of actors to Squid Game, but from a different country's roster of talents. Furthermore, if Squid Game Season 2 goes international, showrunners could also opt for a setting that's very different, yet even more secretive and menacing than Season 1's island. Now, when Jun-ho infiltrates the frontman's inner chambers, it's revealed that Squid Game has been going on for decades. This is when he finds out that his long-lost brother, In-ho, or the frontman, won the games at some point. Jun-ho also finds comprehensive files on Squid Game's current and previous players, many of which are decades old. Disguised as one of the workers running Squid Game's day-to-day operations, Jun-ho finds much evidence that reveal just how deeply the operation go. All of this evidence could also provide opportunities for Season 2 to be set in the past. Season 2 could focus on how Il-nam started the games or how In-ho won and rose to the top of the ranks as the frontman. The story could also be completely unrelated to the main characters from Season 1, as Squid Game seems to have existed for decades, and any one of the time periods could provide an interesting template for Season 2. So in an era where audiences seem absolutely obsessed with horror movies and series, there's a lot of room for Squid Game to continue its unique take on the death games genre. Thank you for watching. Drop a like and tell us down below what you think.